dear. This is the Johnny Cleveland Podcast. All things Cleveland sports with your host, John Suchan. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to a special edition of the Johnny Cleveland Podcast. It is a Tuesday evening, May 27th. Thank you for being here. And tonight, we're going to run down your fan favorite, Browns fans' favorite QBs, quarterbacks. Yes, I know you have your favorites. So we've compiled a list. You may agree, you may not agree. We are putting out some other polls on some other topics that we're going to be covering, like running backs, wide receivers, defensive players here for the Brownies over the history of the team. So we thought it would be fun to go through this and discuss the Browns' top 10 favorite quarterbacks. Not necessarily were they always the best, but these were our favorites. And I think many of us can discuss this. We might have a few disagreements amongst the top 10, but when we get into the very tippity top of the list, I think we will all agree that these are favorites of us loyal, diehard Cleveland Browns fans. Before we get into all of that, we did see some OTAs today with the Brownies. Nice to see the veterans returning. Saw Joe Flacco throwing a pass, saw Shedeur Sanders throwing a pass. So we are in the preliminary stages of our new season. So fun to see that. See other people out there on social media platforms sort of getting bothered by a variety of things and the coverage of what we're doing here or around the community when it comes to the Browns. Some people are tired already of the conversations that are going on and who's going to battle it out and who's going to survive and be the week one starter for the Browns. We got plenty of time to discuss that. So we will continue that conversation next time. All right. So without further ado, here are our top 10 Browns quarterbacks. Number 10, rumbling, tumbling, Colt McCoy. Now, why Colt McCoy? Well, you guys remember this. Colt McCoy, he beat the Squealers. Okay, enough said. The man was beaten, dragged, played his heart out. So he has made it into our top 10 of our fan favorites. He's got a great name. Colt McCoy came from Texas. A lot of fans back in the day really appreciated him. His record wasn't that fantastic. He only won 6 games, lost 15, played during the 2010 through the 2012 season, injured on and off. But Colt McCoy cracks the top 10. Number 9, here's a fan favorite and a local kid, St. Ignatius. Yes, that's right. Brian Hoyer. You guys remember Brian Hoyer? I swear they made the movie Draft Day based on that character, Brian Hoyer's character, as the veteran quarterback in the locker room there for the Brownies. Brian Hoyer had a fantastic couple of seasons, not a fantastic couple of seasons, but he had a really good 2014 season. In that 2014 season, they had just drafted Johnny Manziel, and the pressure was mounting. But despite that, Brian Hoyer did some amazing things, was able to get the Browns to a 7. I think it was at one point a 7-4 record. They had an upset win over, I think, Atlanta at some point or one of those teams. And it seemed like everything was going really well, except for the fact that the Browns front office and such, the coaches were getting pressure to start Johnny Manziel. And the rest is history. Brian Hoyer went on to leave the team, but he was definitely a fan favorite, grew up here in Cleveland, And many people really enjoyed that when he was quarterbacking. Number 8, Kelly Holcomb is on our list. Kelly Holcomb, yes, he played between 2001 and 2004. What a lot of you will remember is the 2002 season. That season he actually started, if you recall, because Tim Couch was injured, and he started the first couple games. Then Tim Couch came back. Tim Couch led the team to he won 8 games, lost 2, 6, and then he got hurt again. So that meant that Kelly Holcomb had to come in, finish the season. They got to the playoffs. They played the Pittsburgh Steelers. They had a hell of a game, threw for over 429 yards in that game. If it weren't for Dennis Northcutt dropping a pass that he probably catches 9 times out of 10, the Browns probably win that game, and Kelly Holcomb is even more of a hero. But that guy's jersey was always dirty. We love Kelly Holcomb. Number 7, who can forget Tim Couch, the guy that started it all here when the Browns got the reboot in 99. Tim Couch got beat up. He had no offensive line help. Only played his few years here in Cleveland before he got out of football. But he was just a favorite from the beginning. Now, he said some things to fans and such later on in his career that kind of snubbed some fans, but overall, there were a lot of Tim Couch jerseys. There still are people wearing Tim Couch jerseys. So Tim Couch makes it at number 7. Number 6 on our fan favorites list. This guy made a dent into our top 10, and he didn't play for the Browns that long. But yeah, I mentioned him at the beginning of the show. That's right, Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco, yes, I know he played for the Ratbirds, but man, what a hell of a ride. Flacco Mania 2023. The kid was amazing. Not the kid, he was an old man. Comes off his couch, starts firing darts. They lose to the Rams out there in Los Angeles, but he does everything else. And then he comes back and they win the next 4 games in a row. The Brownies do, under his direction. And the team makes it into the playoffs where they lose to the Houston Texans. But man, what a ride that was. What a month and a half of excitement. If you were a Browns fan, you were all about Joe Flacco. And guess what? Joe Flacco is back, folks. I know many of you are very excited about that. So Joe Flacco makes the top 10, gets in at number 6. All right. Frank Ryan, number 5. Frank Ryan, old-time great quarterback who led the team, the Brownies of old, to the 1964 championship game. Frank Ryan's from here. He was a very cerebral, very kind of a professor, a college professor type, just mathematician, just smart ass as you could be. And he had an amazing record with the team. He was 55 and 22. 52 and 22, 52 wins, 22 losses in his time as a Cleveland Browns quarterback. That's pretty impressive. We haven't seen that kind of quarterback here in Cleveland forever, but he played for the team between 1962 and 1968. The Browns were always good under his direction. Frank Ryan, he brought us a championship in 1964, the 8th NFL championship of the Browns. Just that, make sure that everyone out there who's not a Browns fan is counting. Yes, the Browns have 8 championships. Yep. Thank you very much to the NFL who changed those rules and added those meaningful championships to the Browns history. All right. We're going to pause for a break here on the Johnny Cleveland podcast. This is a special episode where we're going down the list of Browns fans' favorite series on quarterbacks. We'll be right back here on Fans First and the Fanatical Elves Network. Hey, and we are back here on the Johnny Cleveland podcast. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate you downloading us, following us on the X, on Facebook, here on YouTube, and listen to us later. Subscribe to us on Apple and Spotify. That's where we make the big bucks, and we really need all of you to support us by downloading, subscribing to us. You are a loyal fan base to the Browns. thank you for being a loyal fan base to the Fanatical Elves Network. All right. Without further ado, we're up to the top 4 favorite Browns quarterbacks. Number 4, this guy came in throwing darts. 2018. You know who he is, Baker Mayfield, who could have been the long-term answer of the current Browns regime as the franchise quarterback. And for many of us, we thought maybe we had that, but everything changed in 2021. He left by 2022. We all know what happened with that, with Sean Watson coming in. But from 2018 through the 2020 season, a little hiccup in 2019. Not Bernie, Baker. Baker did it all. He came in that second game of the season. It was a Thursday night game against the New York Jets. And if you were there in person or you watched the game on TV, you certainly know what we're talking about. It was like night and day. And Baker Mayfield was dangerous, always feeling dangerous. And he was a cocky son of a gun. And but Browns fans really admired that from afar. They liked his connection to the fan base. They liked his drive, his motivation. Just all of that just made him very appealing to the fans. So Baker Mayfield makes it in to our top 4. He brought a playoff win for the Brownies in 2020, and they beat the Pittsburgh Squealers. Just some fantastic stuff there. Now Baker plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and is having some more success after going up and down a few different places, having gone out to Carolina to play, and the Los Angeles Rams. It seems like he's found a home with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All right, number 3 on our list. Any guesses? Number 3 on our list is the great Brian Sipe. Now, if you were my age or my age bracket, you go back in the day when you were a kid. I was a kid back in 1980. Brian Sipe had been quarterbacking the Browns for several seasons prior to that, but he really hit it out of the park in 1980. That team was fantastic. They were the Cardiac Kids, and it was because Brian Sipe in that 1979 season, that 1980 season, they had so many wins late. He was throwing passes to Dave Logan, my mom's personal favorite wide receiver back then. Ozzie Newsome, one of the greatest tight ends of all time, the Hall of Famer. Just wonderful teams back then. And Brian Sipe, under the direction of Sam Rutigliano, the coach back in the day, got all the way to the playoffs that year in 1980. There were songs created. Everybody was hyped. There had been kind of a dry spell where the Browns hadn't made it to a playoff game or much of that since the 1964 championship. So the town was in euphoria. All things looked good. They were getting Oakland to come all the way across the country to play them in a frigid game down at the lakefront on the frozen tundra of Municipal Stadium, the field, and it just wasn't to be. They had opportunities in that game. Could have maybe gone for the field goal, but many of you who know the history of the Browns, that game, Don Cockcroft missed several extra points and field goals. As I said, the field was literally frozen, and Samuel Rutigliano supposedly told Brian Sipe to throw the ball into Lake Erie if it wasn't there to Ozzie Newsome, but he threw the ball fluttered a little bit, and the Oakland Raider fella just made a great play on it. And for a second, we thought maybe Ozzie Newsome would come away with the ball, but nope, the Raiders had stolen the game away with the interception. But Brian Sipe will go down as historically one of the fan favorites. Everybody loved Brian Sipe. He just did everything he needed to do. He played out there in California before he came here to the Buckeye State. All right, number 2. Now there's some deliberation here. There's some debate here. Who should go number 1? Who should go number 2? But on our list, we're going with, that's right, Otto Graham, the greatest that ever was for the Cleveland Browns. Steady Eddie, just consistent. Brought 7 championships to the Brownies. 7, not 1, not 2, but 7. Otto Graham played for the team from its inauguration, finished playing in 1955. Did some great, amazing things. We owe everything to Otto Graham. Finally, our number one. Oh, let me see. Have you figured it out? You better have figured it out. It is Bernie Kosar makes our number one. And, you know, if you're again in my age group, you don't, everybody always starts with Bernie. Bernie was from Youngstown, grew up here. The Browns were able to draft him in the supplemental draft. And we all know what happened. There were so many opportunities, so many fun things, so many ups and downs with Bernie, but he bled orange and brown. 1986, 1987, 1989, they made it to the AFC Championship only to get upended in some historically crazy moments that we can discuss later, but they lost to John Elway and those horrible Broncos those years. But boy, wasn't it fun. What a period in Cleveland Browns history that all of us will always remember and cherish. And we hold Bernie very high on our list. He's always been a fan favorite. And even to this day, he is on social media. He's always sending a positive message to the fan base. And so we love Bernie, and Bernie loves us, and you know that. So thank you very much, Bernie, for everything that you've done for Northeastern Ohio and your community of Youngstown and Cleveland. Awesome guy. Congratulations. Bernie makes our top 10 of fan favorites. So we're going to be having some more of these fan favorite series coming up with our Johnny Cleveland podcast, including running backs. We've put out a poll on who were some of your favorite running backs. So make sure to go to our X page and go to that poll and give us your answers. Who were some of your favorites? We're going to do, like I said earlier, our wide receivers, our defensive players, and so maybe some of your favorite coaches and not some of your least favorite coaches. I bet I know who's up on the top of that list. All right, folks. Well, I hope you have a very good. This is. I get interrupted already from Johnny Cleveland. The music. It's telling me I gotta go. Hey, everybody, have a great rest of your night. Like I said, go Browns, and remember too. That's right. Keep smiling.